So, is your Linux system just feeling sluggish? Or maybe it's getting a little unstable? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that complexity. I'm going to show you just three, essential commands that are basically your system's health check, helping you find and fix the most common performance problems in just a few minutes. You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You're totally in the zone, deep in your work, and your system just starts crawling. Or maybe apps just start crashing out of nowhere. It's so frustrating. But here's the good news. The fix is often way simpler than you might think. Okay, let's get into it. When a Linux system starts acting weird, there are usually two main culprits we need to look at first. It's either running out of long-term storage, that's your disk space, or it's running out of its short-term workspace, which is your memory. Think of it like we're going on a little diagnostic mission to check both. First things first, we need to get the big picture. Yeah, before we start getting lost in the weeds and digging into tiny details, let's just do a quick high-level health check of our system storage. You can think of this like the initial checkup you get at the doctor's office. And for that, the very first tool for the job is the df command. It literally stands for disk free, and it gives you a quick report on the disk space for all of your file systems. I absolutely love this analogy. It's basically the fuel gauge for all your hard drives. It tells you exactly how much gas you have left in each tank. Using it could not be simpler. You just type df into your terminal. But, and this is the big pro tip, always add the -h flag. That H stands for human readable, and it magically transforms the output from this confusing mess of data blocks into nice, clean gigabytes and megabytes. Seriously, it makes a huge difference. So you run the command and boom, you get a table that looks something like this. It shows you your file system, the total size, how much is used, and how much is available. But the one you really want to look at, the one that tells the story, is that last column, use %. If you see that number creeping up into the 90s, well, that's your red flag. You've probably just found your problem. Okay, so let's say DF tells you your main drive is 95% full. Now what? We know the tank is almost empty, but we have no idea what is taking up all that room. All right, time to put on our detective hats and find the exact culprit. And this is where our second tool, the du command, comes into play. Du stands for disk usage. So if DF is the car's fuel gauge, think of du as the luggage scale you use at the airport. It lets us weigh specific folders to see which one is the giant oversized suitcase hogging all the space. Now, if you just run du by itself, it can be a little chatty. It'll list everything. So we make it a little smarter. We tack on -s for summary. That stops it from just, listing every single file in a folder. And of course, we add our favorite -h for human readable. Then you just tell it which directory to check out. So for example, you could run do-esh on your home directory, and you'll get this beautiful, clean line right here telling you it's taking up 2.5 gigs. From here, you can just keep digging deeper, checking folder by folder, until you find that one huge file or directory that's causing all the trouble. But what if your disks are totally fine? You run df, and it shows you've got tons of space, but your apps are still slow. They're still crashing. Well, in that case, the problem might not be your long-term storage at all. It might be that your system is running out of its short-term memory, its RAM. It's like your system is trying to run a marathon, but it's completely out of breath. To check on that, we use our third and final command, free. This command gives you the exact lowdown on what's happening with your random access memory. And here's a great way to think about it. Your hard drive is the giant filing cabinet where you store everything long-term. But RAM, that's the actual surface of your desk, your workspace. And if your desk is totally cluttered, you can't work efficiently, right? Even if the filing cabinet is mostly empty. And guess what? Using it is just as easy. You just type free, and you already know what's coming. We're going to add our trusty -h flag to make the numbers make sense at a quick glance. The output here gives you two really important pieces of info. First, you've got the memro. That's your physical RAM, your fast, active workspace. But right below it is swap, and that's important too. Swap is a chunk of your slower hard drive that your system uses as, emergency memory if your RAM gets full. If you look at this and see that used number is high for both memory and swap, your system is definitely struggling for air. So let's recap. What we've really done here is build a super simple but powerful toolkit for any Linux user. You can think of this as the system doctor's go-to prescription for figuring out what's wrong. And this table right here, this is your new cheat sheet. Is the whole system slow, or are you getting those disk full errors? Start with df-h. Check the overall usage. Okay, so df shows a disk is full. Your next move is du-sh to hunt down the specific folder that's eating up all your space. And if the disks look great but your apps are acting up, time for free-h to check your memory. See? It's a simple, logical process. And that's really the key takeaway here. Keeping your Linux system happy and healthy doesn't take some kind of deep, secret knowledge. Nope. It's really just about knowing which simple tool to pull out of the toolbox for the right job. And now, you know the top 3. But here's a thought. What happens if you've checked everything we just talked about? Your disks have plenty of space, your memory is free, but things are still lagging. Well, the next bottleneck is often something outside your computer entirely, your network. And we'll get into the tools for that investigation in a future explainer.